Hello everyone and now welcome. Well, good morning. Good morning. Hello everyone and welcome to a game between CallMeMaster and Grubby. I'm sure I could make some weird comment about CallMeMaster, but well, I will try to avoid it in this 1v1 matchup. CallMeMaster spawning as the teal undead over here at the 10 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Grubby spawning as human here on the bottom right hand side of the map. So purple human Grubby going up against CallMeMaster teal undead here on Tide Hunters. Crota for president. Thank you. I actually think I'd fall apart as president. So much to do, so much going on, but your vote of confidence, at least from one person, well, makes me a little happy. Anyways, let's go ahead and break things down into what we can expect in this 1v1 matchup. First of all, I am expecting a woo. Alright, so CallMeMaster using a trick that I rarely see, setting up a second Necropolis here. That second Necropolis does really increase your blight range by quite a bit, but also one of the things it does is it acts as a second Ziggurat. By acting as a second Ziggurat, I believe it actually takes a little bit less lumber. It does take more gold, but on top of that, it allows the undead to tech to tier 2 while not having to worry about not being able to train up acolytes. A lot of things going on with this second Necropolis here. We'll have to keep a close eye on this as, yeah, second Necropolis, not something you see very often. Coming back around, we are looking at a Mountain King coming in from Grubby. Grubby often does do some strange or off-the-wall strategies while playing, so he's not going for a traditional Archmage by any means. Mountain King gonna go ahead and try and go after these units. Is he gonna try and Thunderclap, or what's going down here? Gonna go after that Sea Giant now. That Sea Giant does sometimes use a spin attack, but no spin attack there, as the Mountain King quickly Stormbolts to finish it off. This particular creep camp does clear up rather easily for Grubby, as he's able to use all of those normal attacks against that medium armor to deal a bit of bonus damage. Crota hype. Well, thank you all 6 of you for hyping me. For all you guys out there who do watch on YouTube, I know some of you guys have free Amazon Prime subscriptions, which reminds me I need to go ahead and use my free Amazon Prime subscription for someone in the WarCraft 3 community. Just a reminder to you guys, do it for someone in the WarCraft 3 community. Don't let it go to waste, since you're given that free subscription. Don't let it go back to the man. Go ahead and use it to support someone in the WarCraft 3 community or another gaming community you support. Obviously, if you want to support me, well, thank you. Anyways, let's go ahead and let's take a look at what's happening here. We do see a second, an expansion with that blight being placed down. And by placing the Necropolis off over here, he doesn't have to worry about it getting pressured, and it is finished pretty much. So CallMeMaster with this second Necropolis here, I thought it was going to be a faster tech to tier 2. Dreadlord as the undead hero. Apologies for not keeping track of that earlier, as the Dreadlord, if it does get up to level 2 here, suddenly it's going to be able to start using that carry-on swarm and trying to rip through a lot of these units. We are taking a look. Peasants are coming back around. There's a massive Thunderclap there, dealing large amounts of damage to multiple units. Mountain King could try and get in a Stormbolt, perhaps. Does have enough mana for a Stormbolt. Gonna try and chase after all these units here. Is that Ghoul gonna be able to get away? That is the question. Trying to go for a Thunderclap here may not work. Are we gonna see? Yes, there's a Thunderclap now, trying to go after another Skeletal or another Ghoul. The Ghoul may end up getting taken down, giving level 3 to the Mountain King. Alright, level 3 on the Mountain King, very dangerous, as level 2 Stormbolt could be used here. Mountain King of Grubby purposely not training up a second ability yet, trying to figure out what, how much mana he can have, and then what damage he can really deal. Alright, Nerubian Tower nearly online here. A Footman trying to shut down the Haunted Gold Mine, as it is currently down to half-life here. It does not have armor right now, and it looks like the Footman will be able to finish it off. Meanwhile, coming back across the other side, there are ghouls and creeps still here trying to stop the building of this town hall. Meanwhile, Mountain King could have a little bit of a, well, difficult time. There's a carry-on swarm. Mountain King, is he going to be able to survive away? He does get off a thunderclap, trying to get in a little bit more damage. Footman, well, going to be able to survive. Mountain King teleports back as the Dreadlord is at level 2. Yeah, very messy game overall. All right, well, Grubby doing a bit of good job with that micro, a 3-unit surround. The peasants are going to finish off that last ghoul there. And, well, those ghouls in a bit of trouble. Mountain King does not have any sort of healing, and a carry-on swarm could find a bunch of peasants here. Meanwhile, the Dreadlord is going to be able to get in some big kills. That is a lot of, well, dangerously low hit point. Footman, as another one gets taken down there. More peasants could get lost here. However, the Town Hall is completed as the Dreadlord hopes to try and get up to, well, level 3 here by taking down some of these peasants and some of these other units. All right, Ghoul trying to back away. More low hit point Ghoul. That's going to get clawed in the back again. Footman still putting in pressure. Mountain King still unable to get back in on the action, as I don't believe, yeah, finally an Arcane Vault is completed. Clarity Potion, Scroll of Regeneration needed to try and heal up more of those units, as more peasants are going to get cleaned up. We may end up having a bunch of high-level heroes. Mountain King, is he going to go? Yes, that's in a big thunderclap right there, trying to finish off more units. That was a level 2 thunderclap. There goes another ghoul again. And with that thunderclap, the, well, Dreadlord looks to back away. All right, Haunted Goldmine nearly up. Tech to tier 2 has not even started. CallMeMaster has had the second Necropolis, but hasn't really done much with it so far. On top of that, the Mountain King, well, trying to finish off another ghoul. That ghoul could end up easily getting taken down. Mountain King, Clarity Potion, Stormbolt, and then, well, giving a loving tap and taken down. All right, Scroll of Regeneration should be used here. I think Grubby's plan was to give that Scroll of Regeneration to a couple of low hit point peasants, but, well, those low hit point peasants just didn't make it. Back off to the north. CallMeMaster here, able to clear out this northern creep camp, looking to get to level 3. And it's been a dirty, bloody, messy early game. Now that the Dreadlord is at level 3, we now have access to level 2 carry-on swarm. And with that, well, the downside of going for a fast expansion is that you're often stuck at tier 1 longer. Tier 1 units generally have lower hit points for, aside from grunts, but yeah, generally lower hit points. So that carry-on swarm at level 2 may be able to start dealing critical damage onto those footmen and take them out. In the same breath, though, the Mountain King is also with level 2 Thunderclap, with a bunch of ghouls out here on the battlefield. We may be getting to level 4 units much more quickly than you would see in a typical game, as Acolytes are getting taken down. Mountain King, hoping to perhaps try and save some of those low hit point footmen, haven't been able to do exactly that. Mountain King, the one unit that shouldn't be attacking the Nerubian Tower, as it deals reduced damage to fortified armor. Now, Mountain King looking to retreat back away. Footmen trying to engage here. We could have a couple more deaths here, as well as the skeletal minions, well, join in to try and slow down some of these fleeing units. Mountain King, is he going to be able to do enough here as the footmen are retreating back? A lot of healing could go on. Carry-on swarm, not going to be enough. Mountain King could try and use a Scroll of Regeneration and use this walk back time to get a little bit more, but there's a lot of low hit point units. There's a Thunderclap trying to slow things down, and you can see another ghoul going to get taken out here. One footman getting taken out there, and this has just been an absolute bloodbath here as the Arcane Tower tries to protect all of these peasants who are just, well, getting waylaid by all of these units. Mountain King or Dreadlord seeing that level 3. I'm going to see a carry-on swarm. That needs to be what happens here, but that's only low hit point ghouls. All of the peasants were just a bit too far away. All right, footmen trying to engage against here. Our carry-on swarm, 95 man. I believe there's enough to try and finish those units off, perhaps, and get some of those peasants in the back. Yeah, one of those peasants taken down as well. Just shy now of level 4. Level 4 Mountain King, nearly level 4 Dreadlord. More ghouls getting trained up, but we should be looking at a transition into, well, something else. Necropolis is training up more acolytes here, as a third Necropolis now being placed down. This Necropolis seems a little bit out of place now in terms of strategy, as we do have dual crypts cranking out ghouls still. All right, as we're looking at, well, a couple of skeletal minions getting cleaned up here. We do have another Rod of Necromancy and a Ritual Dagger that's going to be usable by these units. We're still looking at, another Giant Sea Turtle finishing off a Ghoul here. Some pretty, well, messy plays overall still. 39 supply compared to 33, as the Blood Mage going to be going in for Siphon Mana and trying to constantly top off this Mountain King here. Wand of Illusion has been left behind, could sell some of those items. The Ghoul is trying to cannibalize, but that is not going to, well, be enough. All right. Finishing another, well, Stormbolt finishes it off there. Level 2 Stormbolt getting the job done. Dumb question. I feel like Dreadlord falls behind soon. Why do some players prefer Dreadlord over Panda as the first hero? Dreadlord first over Panda is generally for the follow-up. The Death Knight is just so strong that oftentimes the Dreadlord, being able to be, well, healed by that death coil even as a second hero is strong enough. That's also one of the reasons why Naga Sea Witch often falls in that Death Knight Lich Naga Sea Witch combination, the inability to try and heal those units. All right, Rifleman turning back around. Stormbolt finishes off another Acolyte there. Mountain King just going after the Dreadlord now, as the Dreadlord does have a little bit of mana. Siphon Mana going to go ahead into the Mountain King. Mountain King Stormbolts the Dreadlord, allowing more time for the priest to get those heal, and that Rifleman definitely saw its life flash before its eyes a couple of times. All right, some nice exchanges going back and forth here. Blood Mage now currently low on mana, and with Priest out on the battlefield without Brilliance Aura, well, those priests are going to perhaps run out of mana fairly quickly. Mountain King going to try and engage here. Are we going to see perhaps some Thunderclaps? Blood Mage needs the Siphon Mana from that Ogre Magi. Any bit of mana that you can get off of the map is still beneficial. All right, not quite sure why the Blood Mage isn't doing exactly that. Footman going to get taken down, but at this point, trying to free up supply with those lower tier units, not necessarily a bad idea. Grubby sitting at 48 supply with 1,000 gold in the bank. Mountain King looking to buy some decent items from the marketplace, sees some sentry wards and will be placing them down. Meanwhile, back in the center portion of the map, we still see mass ghouls coming across from CallMeMaster. The Thunderclap, that slow clap, is going to be able to devastate much of this army here, as we see a second Arcane Vault being placed down. All right, one priest right there, Carrion Swarm ripping on through. Dreadlord does have dual potions of mana, though, so those dual potions of mana could, well, be used to recharge and relaunch and refire all of those there. However, it doesn't look like this is going to turn out well. We can see a Scroll of Healing Flame Strike coming back across, and so much AoE damage coming online. Obsidian Statue going to go ahead and try and retreat. 39 supply compared to 50, as the Blood Mage's Flame Strike across his own base deals devastating damage to a bunch of ghouls who were just trapped in that corner. Grubby sitting at 19 workers. No more workers down on the south side here, oddly enough. Meanwhile, we are at tier 3. No sign for a second or for a third hero, as the Death Knight now, well, on the battlefield here to try and clear out this gargantuan sea turtle creep camp. Mountain King, Blood Mage, making its move, as we see a Paladin as the third and final hero coming across from Grubby. I think Grubby was looking for a little bit of a play here. All right, there's a Thunderclap, needs to get a Siphon Mana off on that Null Ward and try to top off more mana indeed, as Sorceress's Priest and Rifleman working together now. All right, Circlet of Nobility, that's going to be a big item, perhaps, well, picked up by the Mountain King here. +3 to every single stat, as well, we're looking at some blight down here. Obsidian Statue could easily get picked off here. Knights are already on the battlefield with that Animal War training, and we're going to see some more Siphon Mana with them beautiful body blocking by that Knight, and now Slow being placed down as well. That Dreadlord is going to have a very, very bad day indeed, forced to use a Scroll of Town Portal, as we're looking at another ghoul getting finished off again. All right. Grubby taking this opportunity to clear off a nice, easy green creep camp. Little does he know, CallMeMaster is already in position to run across the map here and get some kills across some of these peasants again. 67 supply compared to 55. Grubby with the well, decent supply lead as a Stormbolt goes down and picking off some of those trailing units again. Lich, as that third and final undead hero, already has the Orb of Corruption. We are looking at the Blood Mage getting up to level 3. Is he going to go for level 2? No, level 2 Flame Strike over level 2 Siphon Mana, as many of the undead units have often been low on mana anyways. Paladin, however, getting caught in open field and getting lost in transit from Death Coil, Frost Nova slowing things down, perhaps even adding in a sleep as well. Death Knight, does he have enough mana to try and Death Coil the Lich? No, he does not. The Obsidian statues all turned into destroyers, as the Death Knight, without enough mana, unable to heal his partner at all. Or I guess underling at that point. Coming back through. Destroyer going to try and go to town across all of these peasants. Dreadlord, there's a carrion swarm ripping up across a large amount of damage. Peasants could end up getting taken down. Staff of Sanctuary straight up brings the Blood Mage into the battle. Flame Strike there, and the Blood Mage gets taken down as well. Staff of Sanctuary for another peasant, as there's going to be some easy kills again. Trying to finish off this one peasant who has that Staff of Sanctuary. It's just recovering too many hit points, and it stands right there completely neutralized, unable to move, but ends up staying alive. Blood Mage gonna get resurrected at level 3, Paladin gonna get resurrected at level 1, but what a strange change of events right there. The use of Scrolls of Healing by that Dreadlord, I think really saved a lot of the damage that the level 2 Flame Strike would have done, making that level 2 Flame Strike actually hurt Grubby even more. Grubby losing control in that particular moment. Coming back around, a Death Knight diving on in. There's a carrion swarm. A bunch of low hit point peasants could get cleaned up. And now that it is an off to the races to level 6. Dreadlord trying to get to level 6 could deal quite a bit of damage. Units are trying to retreat back out again. Knights, hoping to dive and catch this Dreadlord and Death Knight out of position. Meanwhile, Lich needs to regroup here, and we'll need to see some Obsidian statues to get some mana on these undead heroes. We see a third base being established up by CallMeMaster, but the Knights able to wander the map freely, and because of those Sundering Blades, the Knight is not going to be able to do the Knight, all it can do, well, the Acolyte shouldn't be able to do very much, but the Knight is just attacking that haunted gold mine there. Meanwhile, the destroyers of CallMeMaster, they haven't been able to stick around on the battlefield that much. Too much focus fire and constantly upgrading and training up those destroyers to remove slow only to see you lose those destroyers is a bit of a dangerous proposition. Obsidian statues coming their way back over. 60 supply compared to 60 supply. Siphon mana here. Death Knight running out of mana. It looks that the Lich could get taken down. Yes, for the second time here. Death Knight low on mana because of that Blood Mage's Siphon mana. Unable to keep those units topped off. Meanwhile, Mountain King doesn't have enough mana to land a Stormbolt either. Blood Mage could have siphoned mana into that Mountain King, but so many things going on in this fight. The Orkin Grubby just wants to kill peasants. All right, coming online. Oh, this could be a dangerous situation. The Destroyer is going to have some, easy targets to devour magic. Is he going to do exactly that? Yeah, devour magic and now try to go after some of those additional targets. Dreadlord trying to break the line, and there's a carrion swarm ripping on through across the units as we're seeing more devour magic here, more siphon mana. Dreadlord is going to run out of mana and then perhaps use a potion of mana to line things up for another strong attack. The Destroyer, is he going to be able to do much here? He's trying to get in some more devour magic, but the Riflemen are going to be able to finish him off, and you cannot, you are not regenerating that many hit points. There's the Scroll of Town Portal to retreat back out. With that Flame Strike, 54 supply compared to 45. Both sides losing a lot of units, which means both sides should be leveling up soon. Apparently level 1 heroes are not cared for in this game. Grubby losing his Paladin again. Same thing with the Lich. Resurrection will be needed as the Dreadlord, needs to open the fight up with that level 3 Carrion Swarm and continue to use it effectively, perhaps even opting to sleep that Blood Mage. so that so that Grubby doesn't just get all of this mana from the other side. Meanwhile, sorceresses, well, that Nightcrawler trying to share the poison across multiple units. You can see all of that damage going around there. Blood Mage gets up to level 4 and picks up a Wand of the Wind, a nice consumable item. But with Destroyers out on the field, that should be cancelled rather easily. CallMeMaster now transitioning into Necromancers for for that pop-up army. Here we go. Major damage. We can see a lot of peasants could get taken down. Mountain King trying to come back around here. Are we going to see a cripple or something to try and slow down to that Mountain King who is nearing level 6? Level 3 Thunderclap right there. Fly machines going after the Destroyer, but there's just not enough fly machines there as the Rifleman now showing up as well. All right, more damage coming on through. Mountain King getting up to level 6, trying to chase as well as the Paladin, well, wants to do a little bit of, have a lasting presence in this combat. There goes another Necromancer again. Staff of Sanctuary being used to try and save those low hit point units. Meat Wagons. So Necromancer, Meat Wagons are working together, but CallMeMaster has not reached critical mass with those units as of yet. On top of that, the priests do have mastery training, so they should be able, as long as they stop using Inner Fire, be able to dispel any of those units rather quickly and perhaps get higher level up again. Mountain King now trying to lead the charge here. Meanwhile, a lone knight trying to finish off this Nerubian tower off on the south side here, just trying to maintain that economic neutrality as both sides are fighting their way through. It looks like another destroyer devour magic, and with that destroyer having a little bit of mana, being able to get splash damage against those units again. All right, Fly Machine going to get taken down. There's level 3 on the Death Knight. Level 3 Death Knight does translate into level 2 Death Coil. Paladin could have a very, very bad day. It gets Staff to Sanctuary out of that tough spot. Both heroes, Mountain King and Paladin, getting pulled back out here, and now it's time for the Undead to roll on in, perhaps try and finish off some of these units as there's a bit of retreating. All right, Death Knight with that Unholy Aura trying to lead the charge here. Sorceress does get a slow off on the Undead Death Knight, who was in the front and now body blocking everywhere there. Never got to catch your streams live. Loved your commentary for 10 years. Thank you, Wicked Giraffe. Kind words, thank you. As the mortar teams with fragmentation shards now joining the army of Grubby. CallMeMaster's main gold mines and expansion gold mine should start to run out of gold in just a few minutes. We are going to start to see the importance of that bottom left-hand side here in just a second, as we see a lot of Necromancers, all charged up here. One Knight actually getting caught in the wrong spot, as mortar teams are really going to be needed to deal with the Necromancers here. All right, Meat Wagon still lobbing attacks. Are we going to see... we don't see any of the corpse generation here, as the Mountain King gets off a decent Thunderclap in the frontline spot. Without that Archmages, though, Brilliance Aura, the Priest are finding themselves a little bit low on mana and unable to dispel follow-up here. There's a big Flame Strike. Is it going to find a bunch of Necromancers? We could have 1, 2 dead Necromancers right there, as a third one gets taken down as well. Paladin gets up to level 2 in all of the chaos, as Disease Cloud is now being spread across all of those units as well. All right, Carrion Swarm, level 3, really finding their targets on all of those backline units. 2 Obsidian Statues in the back, though, are providing a bit of support as the Mountain King constantly gets more and more mana. There's another level 3 Thunderclap across all of these units again. All right, Carrion Swarm could rip through. Potion of Mana already used up, though, as a Meat Wagon gets taken down. All right, Knight gets taken down. All right, is the Dreadlord going to be able to find level 6 here? That is the question, as the Death Knight gets taken down in the chaos. Dreadlord losing all of its mana, and we're going to see those fragmentation shards just make pudding out of those Necromancers, leaving no bones behind. Dreadlord now retreating back. A Death Knight resurrected at the tavern to unlock that level 1 Unholy Aura, trying to outpace and outrun that Mountain King. Paladin getting close to level 3. Blood Mage is at level 5 with level 3 Flame Strike now, and it is currently... I guess two and a half operational bases, as Acolytes do need to transition over. There's a Stormbolt onto the Dreadlord. Dreadlord could have a bit of a bad day. More Siphon mana. And undead heroes without mana are just not that scary at all. 68 supply compared to 53. A bit of a bloody battle going back and forth, but still entertaining nonetheless, as Grubby getting close to level 3 on that paladin should be able to well, have that be a big tipping point to keeping his Mountain King alive, who is often diving in that frontline spot. Carrion Swarm finding 3 low hit point units, 4 low hit point units, taking them all down, as the Dreadlord now inching closer to level 6. That is going to be a big deal indeed. Level 6 does unlock Dreadlord, and that Dreadlord suddenly changes things around. There's a Flame Strike, but one Necromancer does Necromancer does get taken down. There goes another unit there trying to finish off, trying to just get that last bit of experience to get to level 6. And where is that Dreadlord? Dreadlord is still sitting at 5.9, 14 experience shy. Will he be able to perhaps kill a rifleman there? That is the question now. There goes the priest. Are we going to see the Dreadlord come down out of the sky? No, goes for a Carrion Swarm instead, and now out of mana. All right. It says that the Summon Infernal is currently on cooldown, but I haven't seen that at all, so that can't be the case, as we see another Staff of Preservation, and then followed by another Flame Strike there. A bunch of low hit point units trying to run away through the fire and flames. Lich could be in trouble. Lich gets taken down by the Mountain King, as the Mountain King still leading the charge there. Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. And this has been just a crazy game going back and forth. Knights trying to retreat back away. 42 supply compared to 52. One more, Death Knight now back out onto the battlefield here. More Siphon mana. The Blood Mage just constantly being able to shut things down. As we're going to see the Scroll of Town Portal used by the Blood Mage. That is going to be the final shot there. The Blood Mage seemingly able to get away at 27 hit points. Mountain King could be in trouble. Mountain King finishes off an Obsidian statue and walks to the Blood Mage in time to take the Scroll of Town Portal home. All right. Lich now getting resurrected as well. The additional gold from the 8 o'clock expansion really giving a strong economic advantage for CallMeMaster. Meanwhile, Grubby's 3 o'clock expansion location going to be out of gold shortly. It is going to be 2 bases to 0, and with 2 bases to 0, Grubby may end up not being able to build up an army fast enough to bounce back against CallMeMaster's, Necromancer army. On top of that, if the Lich can get Lich, Death Knight, and Dreadlord can get enough mana out of the gate with that Infernal Carrion Swarm Frost Nova initially, that could be enough to tip things in favor, as the back line of units, the Riflemen, the Priests, the Sorceresses, will end up falling very, very fast, especially with that Infernal, the proximity damage from that Infernal. Coming back through, Knights trying to leave the charge here. It really is going to come down to mana, how much mana you have. Dreadlord with a decent amount of mana. Lich also having a Frost Nova. Here we are, here we go. There's the Infernal. Are we going to see a Carrion Swarm follow up? No follow up Carrion Swarm. There's a Flame Strike there, as the units are trying to retreat back. The Infernal trying to make its way through. Dreadlord needed to use that Carrion Swarm earlier. Not quite sure why he didn't, as a Tome of Intelligence +2 left behind earlier, now giving that Mountain King 360 mana. All right. That Infernal, the follow-up attack just wasn't there that was needed by that Dreadlord. There goes a Stormbolt now onto the Death Knight. Blood Mage may try and get another Siphon mana. We're looking at just trying to use the Disease Cloud to do its thing. There goes that Carrion Swarm, but without the Infernal amongst all of those units and no Frost Nova, Death Coil, things to follow it up, it may not work out well. Death Knight now down to 400 hit points after a potion of healing. Flame Strike does go down. Mountain King is in that Avatar state, able to absorb or be immune to any magic, as we are looking at Staff of Sanctuaries taking units back home. All right, more and more Staff of Sanctuaries used, as the Lich does get up to level 3. Level 3 on that Lich. He does have Frost Armor. He is currently not following in this fight, as the Infernal is still getting aggroed and pulled over just a little bit. All right, not quite sure. It looks as though all of these peasants may end up just getting taken down. A Death Knight cleaning things up here. No reason to use Death Coil in this spot on these peasants. No reason to use the Frost Nova. Just build up mana for that strong burst later on. that Dreadlord does have 150 mana again. We may be looking at a Stormbolt. Blood Mage may try and get a Siphon mana off here, or a Flame Strike. There's the Siphon mana. There's a Stormbolt. Dreadlord unable to break that connection as it finally throws over a Carrion Swarm right there. I think we were all, well, completely expecting that there as we're going into the engagement now. No cripples. Holy Light right there. Paladin, Mountain King going to go ahead and get off a big nasty Thunderclap, but Frost Nova in, well, making things difficult for that Mountain King to try and retreat back out. Nothing a Staff of Sanctuary won't be able to solve, as we're still looking at a big chase going down. Those two destroyers, destroyers, the Carrion Swarms, need to finish off or make low hit point on those riflemen, and then those destroyers should be able to finish things up. Anti-Magic Shell on the Lich and the Death Knight help protecting from the Mountain King's Stormbolt and Thunderclap, able to stay alive so far as the units are still trying to retreat back out. Dreadlord still continuing this push, does have a Scroll of Healing here, could use it on that Death Knight who is now down to 68 hit points. Alright, units going to try and retreat back out. Lich dangerously low as well. Units trying to fall back. More Staff of Sanctuary saving Rifleman and Priest. We are currently looking at 1 base versus 0 now, as we are going into, well, Frostworms by the Undead. I feel like this is more of a not sure what to do type of play, building up a boneyard, as I don't see that many knights out here on the battlefield. All right, Dreadlord, Banshees are out here. Perhaps we're going to see a couple of curses or something else. Anti-Magic Shell once again on the Dreadlord. Going to be difficult to try and stop them as the units are now fighting back on Blight. All right, Illusion going to easily get cleaned up there. There goes another Necromancer, level 3 Stormbolt, while sniping down those targets easily, as the Blood Mage now needs to retreat back. Anti-Magic Shell, well, the neutralizer there. Blood Mage going to end up falling here if it's not careful, trying to siphon mana. Paladin can only heal so much, as we're going to see a Flame Strike now go down. More units going to get taken down. It looks like some Banshees could get taken down. No, the Banshees end up staying alive, as we're looking at the Death Knight with Anti-Magic Shell. Blood Mage falls at level 5, and it looks like Grubby is up against the ropes, unable to get out of this corner, and Grubby has left the game. CallMeMaster able to outlast Grubby in a human versus undead matchup. Grubby looked strong throughout much of the early portions of the game, but unable to establish up a third base here and maintain it. Fell behind economically. With that, even with not so perfect play from CallMeMaster, not using that strong initial burst with the Infernal and that Carrion Swarm with Frost Nova to start the battle, well, it is a marathon. He didn't need the sprint to get that initial lead, as he was able to hold on to that economic advantage. Taking a look at the final scores, I think Grubby had the higher hero score, yeah, by far, 53,000 compared to 39,200, and the only category which CallMeMaster won in was that resource score. Taking a look at the units, well, he did produce more, but a lot of those were those Necromancer pop-ups. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.